All right, welcome back. It's Kyle High Club. This will be MMA episode number 7, I believe. Yep, number 7. I'll primarily be discussing this past weekend's fights between Edson Barboza and Justin Gaethje. That was the main card, and of course a bunch of other fights underneath that. This is the card UFC on ESPN number 2. They weren't on ESPN 2, they were on the ESPN for the second time. And they turned it into pretty good hell of fights. Early prelims were on ESPN Plus, and prelims and main card were on ESPN for 6 to 8 hours. So that's pretty cool. And it's just crazy to see this sport on ESPN now. Every day before I went to school when I was a kid, ESPN was on TV. When I came home and did homework, ESPN was on TV. Always got the latest sports update. Now I don't even have cable myself. But if I did, my TV would constantly be on ESPN. Now, saying that, I never saw fighting or mixed martial arts on ESPN when I was younger. So now even though I don't have a cable subscription and wouldn't even watch ESPN, it'd be cool. It's cool that people that do and are ESPN nuts and just sports nuts, they'll see more and more of this shit. And, they'll start updating, they have the ticker at the bottom, and you'll see the latest MMA news down there and fight results and, anything and everything that's happening UFC, and that's pretty exciting. And as, I'm a newish fan to this, so I'm really excited to see it, and the more coverage it gets, the more this sport should grow, more people should respect it, and just not just see it as cage fighting. And actually, I watched a couple fights with not a girlfriend, but a friend that's a girl of mine. As the second time I've randomly watched fights with girls that have never seen fights before, and both of them were like, "Wow, I thought I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would." And yeah, most people end up saying that. I said the same thing when I first started watching, especially if you watch it with somebody that knows what's going on, so they can explain when they're hugging each other on the ground, the grappling situations, the transitions on the ground, what they're fighting for. While the guys are just standing there, not really throwing anything, but they're moving back and forth, left to right, gauging distance, speed, timing, all that stuff. Instead of just watching it by yourself and being like, okay, these guys are in fighting, I think it's ideal to watch it with somebody that at least has an idea of the sport and knows why these guys are doing what they're doing. So with that being said, let's jump into it. First fight of the night was Alex Perez versus Mark De La Rosa. Honestly, this fight kind of went the way I expected. Perez just dominated him. He didn't dominate him, but he was definitely better than him in every aspect of the fight, which I guess you could say is domination. He looked really good on his feet. I thought De La Rosa had a puncher's chance on the feet. He's shown in the past he threw some wild flurries, like 3 to 4 to 5, hooks in a row, hook combinations in a row where he would, it seemed like accidentally or like surprisingly stun or knock a guy down. But, he consistently did it, so I don't think it was a lucky thing. It seemed like a thing he often does. So just based off that, I bet a little money on De La Rosa. Obviously ended up losing it. But he was a sizable underdog, so I thought, hey, what's $5 or $10? Fuck it. But Perez looked really good. I had the bout scored 30-27, and all three judges had it same. When he was on the feet, he looked really good. And his distance looked real good. His timing, his footwork, his feints, his head movement looked really solid. And then when he got it to the ground, he had good top control and really good, excellent wrist control to where De La Rosa couldn't do anything. He couldn't get back up. He couldn't, throw strikes from the bottom or try submissions or any of that. So Perez looked really good. He was fighting at 125 in the flyweight division, but he's moved up recently. It's his first fight in like over a year, I believe. And this was at 135. He's currently ranked number 7 at 135, and he should definitely stay in that top 10 and actually fight a guy in the top 15 at least. possibly top 10 and see where he goes from there, because this guy looks pretty solid. He's only 27, so future's bright for him. And I expect that he won't be on the early prelim, opening bout. So ranked guy, get him some good fights. So yeah, it was a good fight to start off the night. Second fight after that was between Sabina Mazo and Marina Maros. And Sabina Mazo is actually the first Colombian women's UFC fighter ever. Her nickname is Colombian Queen. She's from Medellin. I believe she's the betting favorite, and she actually had Marina Maros had an early takedown in the first and some clinch fighting, so she definitely won that first round. And actually gave the second to Maros too. She just looked dominant. And just better in every facet. But as the fight went along, Sabina Mazo started to look more and more uncomfortable, and she looked really good in the third. And closing the third round, she looked solid. Both fighters looked solid, but I ended up giving the decision to Marina Maros, 29-28. Gave her the first 2 rounds, gave Sabina the last one, and the judges pretty much saw it the same. One judge had it 30-27, Marina Maros, so they gave all the rounds to her, which I could definitely see, and the other 2 gave 29-28. And I mean, both girls look solid. I think Sabino just took a little while to get adjusted to the bright lights of the UFC. This was her debut. She had previously been undefeated, not faced much adversity in her professional career. I ran into a savvy veteran in Marina Maros, who had some time off, and really looks like she really upped her game. Stood her ground on the feet, and then when she had her taken down and in the clinch, she looked really solid. Didn't allow Mazo to get comfortable. So kudos to her. Kudos to both of them. I look forward to seeing both of them in the next fight. I know Mazo will probably do better, now that she's got that debut behind her. And they both should look pretty solid going forward, and I'm excited for that. What weight division was that again? They were at women's flyweight, so 125. So yeah, with the new division and these 2 ladies, they could definitely be contenders in the very, very near future. So that was a good fight as well. And the last fight on the early prelims was between Ray Borg and Casey Kenny. And this decision had me pretty butthurt, honestly, and especially with all Ray Borg's past history, with the son, going through a variety of medical issues and surgeries, with that, and Borg having his own medical issues, not being able to fight from the McGregor bus incident, and even things before that where he had fighters pull out. He hadn't fought for over 500 days. So I was really looking forward to Ray Borg coming in here and possibly getting a W. And honestly, I scored the bout. I had all 3 rounds going to Ray Borg. And it's not like he dominated Casey Kenny. Casey Kenny looked really, really solid, especially on the ground. His transitions, Borg, and the reason I had Borg winning the rounds is because I just think he did more damage overall. He didn't really land any damage while he took Kenny to the ground, when he took Casey Kenny to the ground, but when he did take him to the ground, each time there were power slams. He's literally lifting the dude off his feet, holding him in the air, carrying him a little bit, walking him around, and then he would slam his entire body weight on him. That is damage. Even if he gets up right after that, you have to count that takedown, because that's not easy. If you just scoop a dude and just hold him on your shoulder and then like a sack of potatoes and slam his ass to the ground, that has to count for something, even if the dude pops up right after that. And he didn't pop up after that too. It's not like he instantly popped up. Yeah, Casey Kenny's, his scrambles were fucking great. They were really good. But you still got taken down, bro. You still got slammed like a sack of potatoes, like a crash test dummy. So that's got to count for something. And then when they were on the feet, I thought Ray Borg had better strikes. He had better control of the octagon. And honestly, I think he just got robbed of the decision. I don't know what the judges were fucking looking at. Kenny definitely belongs in the UFC. He definitely showed promise. He showed some talent. I didn't see too much striking of his. He definitely did clip Borg a couple times, but I think Borg had the more damaging strikes and more volume as well. I haven't looked at the numbers. I don't looking at the numbers because numbers don't tell a story, especially in a fight where you can just you can tap a guy 100 times, but if you have one damaging head kick to the face, that head kick beats out the 100 shitty, pussy ass punches, in my opinion. So I don't really know what these judges were looking at. I thought Kenny got outclassed along the fence, and Borg basically put the fight where he wanted to and controlled and dominated position the entire round from beginning to end bell. So I'm not sure what the judges saw. I had it 30-27, and all the judges had it for Kenny. One of them had it 27-30, which I just can't believe, and the other two had it 29-28, which I can closer believe, but I don't, because I had all 3 rounds to Borg, and I feel really shitty for him that he didn't get the decision. It really sucks because he could really need the money, especially after losing and missing weight. So he had to forfeit 20% of his purse, plus he doesn't get a win bonus. So this guy's going home with 20% less than he expected going into the weekend, and he still's got to pay his managers and trainers like that. So who knows how much he has left. I feel really bad for him, man. And I hope I really hope his son stays healthy and that, he doesn't need any more medical bills. Otherwise, I think we'll see Borg back in the ring soon because he hasn't fought in a while. And he even if his son wasn't, going through the shit, he probably needs the money. And he probably wants to fight. He's probably itching. But I don't know, man. I guess you just can't leave it to the judges. If you want to fucking win, just knock the guy out. I know it's not that simple, but I think they really fucked up Borg on that, and I feel really, really fucking shitty for him. Yeah, that's how the early prelims ended. I verbally was like, what the fuck? Whatever, man. I guess I could watch it again and maybe, I don't even know, man. I watched it pretty close. I watched all these fights, not distracted by anything else, just watching the fights, scoring them at the end of the round, and writing down notes here and there that I saw that I could talk about later on this. So I don't know, man. To start off the prelims, we had Kevin Holland versus Gerald Meerschaert. This was an alright fight. Honestly, it was kind of boring. It wasn't that boring. It was, if you're interested in the ground game and jiu-jitsu and transitions and how you can pretty much just fight without striking, this would be a good fight to watch. These guys just went back and forth trying submissions and, grabbing each other on ground and things like that. At the end, I had no idea who would win. I honestly scored it as a draw myself. And I tried going back after the fights and scoring it not as a draw, but if a judge did that, that'd be illegal, so I'm not going to do that. In the moment, I scored it a draw, so I'm going to keep it as a draw. The first 2 rounds first round I had as a draw because I don't think really anything happened. Second round, I had Kevin Holland because I think he tagged him a couple times. And then the third round, I had Meerschaert winning. So I gave it a draw, and I could definitely see the first round going to Holland because he finished the first round on Meerschaert's back, landed some ground and pound. So I could definitely see how a W went to him. And the judges scored it 29-27, Holland, 29-28 for Meerschaert, and then 30-27 for Holland. Which I'm not really sure where these judges are getting these scoring from again. I could see the 29-28 Meerschaert, even though I didn't score it that way. I can't see the 30-27. I don't see all 3 rounds going to Holland. I just don't. And then I really don't see how you get a 29-27. So that means Kevin Holland won 2 of the rounds, but in one of the rounds you gave Meerschaert an 8. I don't see an 8 round in there. I don't think any either of them dominated at any point in the fight ever. It was just back and forth MMA jiu-jitsu, display just going on. So who knows? And I really did not like Kevin Holland's interviews that he gave after the fight. He basically just complained how Gerald he literally said humped him and hugged him the entire time, which I don't understand. This is MMA, it's a fight. If a guy's going to hold you down, you got to get the fuck back up, bro. And then he's talking about how Meerschaert was just trying to hug him and hold him down the whole time. But when he was down and, Kevin Holland was able to transition and get out of it, he didn't go standing up. He went for another submission. He kept it on the ground himself. So I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. I think he just likes to talk to try to get his name, further promoted. And that's obviously clear. We've kind of known. I kind of talked about that before in this. That's how he got his USA debut, because nobody wanted to fight Thiago Santos on short notice, but Dana White was like, fuck it, this guy talks so much shit, let's see if he'll do it. And he did. Congrats to him, he stepped up. But in this fight, honestly, I think he should have finished Meerschaert. He should have, he was able to get out of Meerschaert's submissions and control, but instead of flipping it and go back to the feet where he had a decided advantage, you could probably knock him out and finish him, he just stayed on the ground with him and willingly accepted the humping. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bro. If you don't want to get humped in a fight, then fucking get the guy off you and stand it back up, you dumbass. Like, come on. So it's just annoying to hear that. Whatever. Honestly, I hope they give him a dominant wrestler next time and they just hold him down the entire time and ground and pound his face in the ground. I honestly don't root for guys to get beat up, but and he kept saying it. It wasn't one interview right after the fight. He said he just kept saying it over and over again, and I think it was very disrespectful to the game overall and his opponent, because his opponent was putting him in danger several times. He almost had him tapped out. He had great transitions to get out of it, and I applaud him for that. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Anyways, the next fight was between Enrique Barzola and Kevin Aguilar. This was a really solid fight. I wasn't sure how this would end up going, because I thought both guys were solid. I know Barzola liked to take pressure and get takedowns along the fence and things like that, but he also had very decent boxing. But Aguilar's a nice up-and-comer. He's got good stand-up. He's got solid stand-up. He just stands his ground with very straight punches, technical punches. He's got fast hands, too. He ended up stuffing all of Barzola's takedowns. As I said, he had great boxing, and it was a great fight to watch. I ended up scoring it 29-28 to Kevin Aguilar. I gave the first 2 rounds to Aguilar and then the last one to Barzola. And all judges also scored it 29-28 to Aguilar. So I got nothing to complain in that standpoint. This is a great fight to watch. Aguilar got his 9th win in a row, so that's pretty solid. Maybe we could see him fight, not saying Barzola wasn't a competition, because he definitely was, but somebody, further up there in the rankings, even though they're unranked, and he should still probably face an unranked guy. Somebody right outside that echelon of, top 15, top 20. Because I think this guy could be a solid prospect. He's 17-1 right now, so dude's solid. He's on a roll. Let's look forward to seeing him and Barzola in the future. Barzola looks solid too. Even though he can get his takedowns, he looked decent on his feet. He just got outstruck. But the ending of the fight was amazing. The guys just stood there and fucking traded back and forth. And I think that's why I gave Barzola the 3rd round. I think he just landed more damaging strikes in that little exchange, so I gave it to him. I guess the judges thought the same. So it was a great fight by these two guys. And they gained a fan out of me out of watching these. And it took me a little time to do the preview episode and all the research behind some of these up and comers I haven't heard before, or I have heard of them before, but I haven't seen too many fights or remember them. And now that I'm doing the research behind it, man, it's awesome just for myself, because I can understand who these guys were, how they're developing and growing from fight to fight. It's just exciting to see the maturity and growth of fighters in between fights. And I mean, I'm becoming fans of these guys, on the undercards, even if they lose in their losing efforts. I gained mad respect for Barzola and De La Rosa, Sabina Mazo, I talked about earlier, even Gerald Marshad, even though he lost, and I talked shit about Kevin Holland. Respect to all these guys. And respect to Casey Kenny, although I didn't think he really won the fight. He looks solid. He belongs in the UFC. Look forward to seeing him fight too. So this is awesome, man. I fucking love this stuff. The next fight was between Ross Pearson and Desmond Green, and honestly, this kind of went how probably a lot of people thought it would. Desmond Green's just a way better athlete than Ross Pearson, especially later in Pearson's career. He's just slowed down. He's 30 plus. He's probably 36 plus. So he's probably 38 or some shit. I don't even know. Yeah, this one ended quick. First round TKO. 2 minutes and 52 seconds in. Okay, Ross Pearson's only 34, so not bad. But he's been around forever, so he's took a lot of damage. He's also not the most agile, athletic guy. Whereas Desmond Green, that's what he is. He stays on the outside, keeps his distance. He had a greatly timed shot, to go for the takedown on Pearson. He tripped him, and then finished with some great ground and pound against the fence against Pearson, and Pearson really had no answer, and he TKO'd him pretty quickly. Got out of there with the W. And there were some great fights later on that definitely deserved performance bonuses over Desmond Green because they were against stiffer competition, higher in the card, etc. But I really think, and I said this earlier, I think we should give a finish bonus, man. 10 or 20 grand to any guy that finishes a fight, because although Desmond Green was the highest favorite in this card, man, he hasn't performed in the past, and there were still some questions whether he can get it done versus a savvy veteran, Ross Pearson, man, and he did it. He finished him in the first round, and Pearson doesn't get finished often. He's a tough dude, but I think a little extra money should be thrown his way just because he did finish it, and it was a real nice performance, and it was the first finish of the night too. The fights before weren't boring, but it was the first finish. And there weren't too many finishes until we got to the later cards, and we'll talk about that right now. The next fight to finish off the prelims between Marina Rodriguez and Jessica Aguilar. And this went pretty much how I thought it would. Marina would stay on the distance, use her striking ability or athleticism advantage over Aguilar, and just outpoint her, outstrike her for most of the fight, and that's what happened. Aguilar's tough as hell. She was bloodied up the entire fight, tough as nails, impossible to finish, it seems like. But Rodriguez was just the better fighter. She even got -1 point in the first round for 2 eye pokes from no-nonsense Keith Peterson, which I really like. You get 1 eye poke, you get a warning, and then after that, you take a -1 point. No more, there's a warning bullshit. I like that. No nonsense from Keith Peterson. I fuck with it. If you're going to be a referee or an umpire in any sport, you got to establish your dominance right away. Not saying just give points away in the beginning, but you got to let them know, they going to learn today. So even with the -1 in the first round, I gave Marina the first round, which would have been 10-9, but ended up being 9-9 because of -1. And then the second round, I had a 10-8 because I thought she just dominated her. And then the third round, I had 10-9 for Rodriguez as well. And it looks like the rest of the judges agree with me at 29-26, 29-27, 29-27. So all 3 judges gave all 3 rounds to her, and one of them gave a 10-8 round, I'm assuming the second, like I did. So I didn't fuck up this fight. And I think they did decent for most of the night, except for the Ray Borg fight. I don't know what they were looking at. But good in the prelims, and those are 2 Or at least Marie. Aguilar's a savvy veteran. She was older. How old was she? 30. I want to say 38, but I can't remember. Yeah, 36. So she's up there. But Marina Rodriguez, up and comer. She's 11-0-1, so she's still undefeated. She might be 12-0-1. I don't know if they've updated the website yet. But, okay, I thought she was younger. She's 31. But either way, strawweight 115, she's definitely could be a top 5. She probably deserves a top 15 fighter now. So I'd like to see that in her next bout. And that ended the prelims. And I'm just going to go ahead and take a little break here right now, and then I'll come back, talk the main card. I'll talk who got performance bonuses, and then, latest news and the rest of the UFC/MMA world. And, yeah, see you soon. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? I know I did for several years before I actually started. I had so many questions. How do I record? Do I need a fancy microphone? Do I need expensive cameras? Do I need to hire somebody? Do I need editing software? Do I need a studio? Do I need a website to, distribute this? How do I pay for a website and hosting? How do I get people to listen? How do I make money? And I struggle with this, and this one. All those questions are the reason why it took me forever to just start. And the awesome thing is that Anchor solves all these questions. They answer all these questions. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. It's ridiculous. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. I'm just in my 3rd episode in, and this is my first ad, and they're giving me $10 for this ad. It's only $10, but it's a start, and it'll lead to more. So if you always wanted to start a podcast and aim to make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start. In order to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. Can't wait to hear you. All right, and welcome back. I'll go through the main card now. Fight to start off the main card was between Sodiq Yusuff and Shimon Morales. This was an interesting fight for sure. I think we saw a lot from both guys that we haven't seen before in the past. I know with Sadiq, let's see, 8. He was a Contender Series alum, and he's from Nigeria. We got this Africa/Nigeria push lately in the UFC. Kamaru Usman recently got the title from Woodley. And then, of course, there's Francis Ngannou. He's not from Nigeria, but somewhere else in Africa. I forget where. I felt like it was Ghana, but yeah, that's besides the point. But as the sport is growing, not only in the U.S., it's growing exponentially in the rest of the world. UFC is building a performance institute in China that's going to be 3 times the size of the one they have in Vegas currently. I think they're going to do one in Mexico, or they're going to do like a couple in Mexico. I forget where else they mentioned they do one, but the sport is expanding rapidly, and it's cool to see, especially see fighters from communities and parts of the world where, there's not much chance for opportunity outside of, their daily struggles. So it's cool that this sport is spanning globally, and that people from rough conditions can essentially fight their way out of poverty and bring themselves and their family into better circumstances. And that's what's so beautiful about sports in general, is how it can connect and improve and grow, not only the individuals that are playing, but also their families and, fans of the individuals behind them, or, teams, or whatever, the sport may be. It's more than just a game. It's a livelihood and making people's lives better. So it's great. some of these people don't have chances to get cushy office jobs where they do nothing all day. They have to fight for a living. And honestly, it's probably better than sitting behind a desk as far as your mental, human mind, spirit. Feel like you're actually accomplishing something. So it's cool. As far as the fight itself, where are my notes on it? Here we go. I gave the first round to Sadiq mainly because of leg kicks. They kind of just felled each other out in the beginning of the fight, so there wasn't too much going on in the first round. And then the second round I actually gave to Shayman Morales because he just looked better. He looked like the more active fighter, and that's really it. He just was more active and had landed more in the second round. And then the third I gave to Sadiq because he dropped Shayman in the third. It was a really good fight, real technical fight back and forth. You could see that each guy respected the other guy's power. Sadiq's a very powerful guy, and so Shayman with that straight right punch. He's dropped plenty of guys with it in the past. So I think they both fought a technical fight. Especially Shayman Morales, dealing with Sadiq's power and his sheer athleticism. He's very patient and showed a high fight IQ, although he didn't get the W. I think, as I said, he showed high intelligence in this fight, and, both guys look good, and I look forward to seeing both of them again. They should both get a higher-ranked opponent. Just because you lose, to a guy that's on the up and come doesn't mean that should drop your stock any. If anything, I think it should bump Shayman Morales. I called him Morales with that because that's what I had written down, but his name's actually Moraes, so my bad. Shayman Moraes. So I think both guys look good, and they both deserve, a rise in their stock. And then this next fight was pretty great to watch. There's just a lot of back and forth. This is between Paul, the Bear Jew Craig, and Kennedy. Oh, God, I can't say his last name. I'm going to call him Kennedy. I'm going to try to pronounce it. Kennedy Nunjekwu. That's got to be kind of close. But, it looked like Kennedy, I gave him the first 2 rounds. He was, he was putting it to Paul Craig on his feet. He dropped Craig in the first with the knee. I thought he was going to get the win as long as he kept his distance and stayed away from Craig and from the ground in his submission attempts. And Paul Craig knew the path for victory. That's what was great about this fight. The entire fight, he was pulling guard, just blindly shooting takedowns, without any setup or punches behind it. But it's because he kind of knew he could do that. He knew Kennedy was green on the ground. He had only really been stood up in his past fights. And he hadn't been tested on the ground, and it showed pretty quickly. As soon as it went to the ground, you could hear Kennedy's corner just screaming, "Get up! Get up! Get up!" And while you can scream all you want, you need some technical advice and know how to do it in the cage. Craig pulled out a fucking amazing triangle choke in the last round with fucking 40 seconds left. There was 4:20. Had already ticked off the clock. It was amazing. Before that, he was 1 for 15 on his takedowns, but he ended up getting the submission and choking him out, getting the tap, within those last fleeting seconds. And it was amazing to see a guy that was essentially losing the whole fight. He looked tired. He looked exhausted from trying to bring, Kennedy's a big dude, and, Craig's not a slouch either. He's pretty big himself, but Kennedy's even bigger than him, so it was cool to see him pull out the W, and I believe, he got a performance bonus for it, so congrats to Paul Craig on that. Going home with the extra 50 G's in his pocket. The next fight was a good fight, a good women's strawweight contender eliminator, essentially. Winner of this should, if not be next in line, but next in line, not a title shot after at the Rose Namajunas and Jessica Andrade fight coming up here at UFC 237, I believe, in Brazil. Should be an exciting fight. But this fight was between Carolina Kowalkiewicz and Michelle the Karate Hottie Watterson. And this fight went exactly how I was hoping it would go. I knew Carolina was very tough. Has challenged on a young Jake chick in the past for the title. She ended up losing, but she didn't go down, on her back or in the fetal position. She went down swinging. And it was a very, very great fight. I was kind of uncertain who won the first, but I gave it to the Karate Hottie just because, I don't know, honestly, I bet some money on her, and I was biased towards her, and I was rooting for her. But I think she got the better of her in the first round. And then in the second round, she got a takedown and held side control for most of the round. She got a hip toss from that, so she got in her clinch, got a nice hip toss. And just had side control for most of the second, landed some elbows. But essentially just dominated position. Didn't get off too much ground and pound, but enough to where the ref couldn't stand it up. So she definitely won that round. And then she almost had an armbar at the end of the second. I don't remember too much how the third ended, but I gave that one to Michelle Watterson as well. So I scored the fight 30-27. And so did all three judges, and the Karate Hottie got the W, and I got a little extra zeros in my betting account. So that was cool. It's cool to see the Karate Hottie finally string some wins together versus some top competition, and she's up there, man. She's got to be I forget what she was ranked going into this fight. It might have been 8th, but definitely top 10, if not top 5. I would give her top 5, and possibly a top 3 opponent. Next, and actually I want to see what the rankings are. But yeah, that was a good fight. It was good to watch these ladies scrap. And although Carolina got the loss and lost all 3 rounds, in my opinion, and all 3 judges' opinion, I know she'll be back and be fighting someone here soon. So yeah, let's see who Michelle Watterson can grab next. Rose is the champ. Andrade's fighting her for the title. Joanna, I don't think that's a fight. Tatiana Suarez, I don't know if she has a fight either. Or is she about to fight Nina Ansaroff? I think those two are about to fight. Claudia Gadelha, Weili Zhang. Ooh, I'd like to see the Karate Hottie versus Weili Zhang, and then the next one, whoever wins that definitely gets a title shot. Or maybe she fights Claudia Gadelha next, unless she has something lined up. I don't know. But we'll see in the future. Looks bright for her. And she said ever since her daughter was born, she wants to be the first women's MMA fighter, to hold a UFC title while being a mother. So I think it's a great goal, and I think she definitely has the potential to complete it. I believe she beat Rose Namajunas in the past champion, so that's a good it's a good backstory right there. Just the rematch with Rose. If Rose ends up getting the belt versus Andrade, you just have that rematch, and that could be a top selling fight. The Karate Hottie's got a pretty good fan base behind her, and so does Rose Namajunas. So yeah, it was a good showing by her, and I look forward to seeing her back in the cage. And oh my god, this next fight was great, between Josh Emmett and Michael Johnson. Where are my notes on this? So first round, of this fight, I had 9-9. I wasn't really sure who won. So I gave it a draw. I don't know, neither fighter did anything impressive or landed more punches. They were kind of just feeling each other out, trying to get the distance, their timing, and that stuff in the first. In the second round, I ended up giving it to Michael Johnson just because I thought he was the busier, more active guy, just landed more. It was a good defensive fight to watch, and just technical battle of distance and timing. And maybe each guy probably respected each other too much, and so they didn't engage as much as they should have, at least in the beginning. But then Josh Emmett, man, he KO'd Michael Johnson in the third round, 4 minutes and 14 seconds. In the third round with an overhand right and just shut the lights off. It made me jump out of my seat, out of my couch, I got the stoner couch, man. You can't get out of that couch. Even if you're completely sober, it's hard to get out of that couch. And I was not sober while watching the fight, so the fact that it made me jump out of this amazing, comfortable stoner couch, it just goes to show that was a... God damn, he got fucking clipped, and you dropped him with one punch. And again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, man. Emmett deserves a little extra money for that, dude. If you knock out Michael Johnson with one punch, you deserve a little extra dough in your account, man. Can't believe it. I understand why he didn't get a performance bonus, because there was some great, performances after this, in the ranks. Paul Craig got one, as I said earlier, and then Jack Hermanson got one in the co-main event, and then the main event ended up being Fight of the Night. I think it's silly, man. They're just being Scrooge McDuck. Either give a bonus for all finishes, 10 or 20 Gs, or give a performance bonus, the 50 Gs that you have now, and give it out more often. He deserves some extra money, man. He just does, and it's not saying the other guys don't, or that Emmett deserves it more than them, but I think they all deserve to get paid a little bit. So I really think that if you finish a fight, you should just get 10 or 20 Gs extra. Just get rid of the performance bonus. Because then it would just end up being the same cost anyway, if not cheaper. Probably cheaper if you only give out, even if you give out 20. So let's go off that logic. Desmond Green would have got performance bonus. That's 20 Gs right there. Paul Craig would have got 20 from his triangle. So that's 40. Josh Emmett would have got one for the overhand right. That's 60. And then Hermanson would have got one for the guillotine. So that's 80. That's 80 Gs. And what they should do is make it 10. Anytime you finish a fight, 10 Gs. And then you could still have the performance bonus, but you only give the performance bonus to one person. You give it to the person that had the greatest performance, or the most exciting or surprising, whatever the criteria is on, whatever is the subjective selection criteria for that. And then you give it 50 Gs to whoever the best is, like I literally just said. And you'd probably end up spending the same money. So if you did it here, you'd have Desmond Green 1, Paul Craig 2, Emmett 3, David Branch 4. So that's 4. You're giving out $40,000 for those finish, and then you get a $50,000 for the performance bonus. So that's 90 Gs right there. Either way, you're spending more money, but I think you're spending less money, and I don't know. I think it would just make guys, more excited to fight, and they'd push it more to go for that finish. If guaranteed you finish this guy, you get extra money in your bank account, you're going to go and try to finish him. But if performance bonuses are given out on a subjective basis, and that, Dana's got to like it, and it's got to be at the right time, you got to hope somebody else doesn't have a more impressive knockout, then guys are just going to, okay, I'm just going to get the win then, which is what they're going to do anyways. But if they know they have the win, if they know for a fact 100% they're going to, if they finish a guy, they get extra, zeros in their bank account, they're going to try to do that, man. That's just human. That's just how humans work. If you have a known incentive to do something, you're going to go that extra mile and do it. But if you don't, you're not. Especially when you're already putting your life on the line in a fucking cage, fighting with another human being trained to fuck you up. So I don't know. That's just what I have to say about that. I think Emmett deserves a little extra money. Even if it's behind closed doors, just give it to him, man. Just give him 5 Gs, 10 Gs, whatever. Because the man hasn't fought in a while. And when last time he did fight, he looked good versus Jeremy Stevens, he dropped Stevens in the first, but then second he got clipped and he got KO'd. So he hasn't fought in a while, and he came back and fought versus a very tough guy who was, yes, coming in on short notice, but he also didn't have time to plan for a Michael Johnson. And Michael Johnson's no scrub, man. Even though he's unranked and he's had some losses, and he lost again here, dude's a legit UFC veteran. And like I said before, if he doesn't extend too much or get out of control, man, I think he can beat anybody at that division. And I thought he looked good until, his hand was down. He just got clipped one time, and that's all it takes. And it was a bad knockout to watch, too. I mean, he was great to watch if you like knockouts, and who doesn't like watching knockouts? But he clipped him, and, the lights turned off, and he just dropped like a bundle of sticks. He just fell over like a tower, or like a tree being cut down. That's how he fell, like a lifeless tree being cut down. And when he hit the ground, his head fucking whiplashed, and hit the back of his head hit the fucking canvas. And that's tough to watch, man. That's tougher to watch, in my opinion, than the actual punch that clipped him and knocked him out in the first place, because I feel like that's a lot more momentum, have all your body weight whiplashing and hitting the ground, and you just get all that weight on the back of your head, which is the most vulnerable spot of your head. I think that's worse than actually getting knocked out, on the feet. It's when guys slam their head against the canvas, and I don't know how to prevent that. I really don't. I don't know. I don't think you can. So, I mean, it's just going to keep happening. So, I don't know what to say. But good performance by Emmett. Sucks Johnson got knocked the fuck out. I look forward to seeing both of them in the future. Emmett, I believe, was number 8 or number 10 in the division. So he deserves another top 10 guy. And, he's a solid fighter. He just got clipped versus Stevens, just like Emmett just clipped Johnson. So, I mean, the guy deserves to be in top 10, possibly a top 5 ranked guy. I look forward to seeing him back in the cage. And actually, I'm going to check out the rankings real quick to see if I can come up with who he might face. Josh Emmett, featherweight, 145. We got Mirsad Bektik in front of him. Cub Swanson would be a good fight. Maybe a rematch with Jeremy Stevens. He could fight Zabit, but I'd rather see Zabit fight somebody above him. Hanoto Moncaño might be a good fight, or Alexander Volkanovski, or Frankie Edgar, any of those guys. And then you got Ortega and Aldo, but I think they're going to be fighting each other, but 100% on that. I thought that was lined up, I can't remember. Maybe I should look that up. But yeah, good fight. So then the co-main event, we had David Branch versus Jack Hermansson, and I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier. Hermansson literally just went right straight ahead towards Branch, and gave him a masterclass in grappling. He had a great, he just got him to clinch and had a great trip to get to the ground. And it was essentially over after that. He got him in a head and arm guillotine and choked him out in 49 seconds in the first round. And this man's legit. I remember seeing Jack Hermansson fight Gerald Meerschaert, who also fought on this card. Previously, they fought each other back at UFC Milwaukee, the last card for Fox Sports 1. I was actually there and saw those fights live. Gerald Meerschaert's a grappler, and so is Jack Hermansson. But Hermansson's just on a whole nother level. He didn't even show any of his ground and pound. His ground and pound is fucking devastating. And he believes he's the best grappler in this game. He thinks he's better than Khabib. And although he hasn't really faced the same competition, David Branch is a solid dude. And he's a solid grappler. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, I believe. Gracie jiu-jitsu at that, too. So yeah, Jack Hermansson's a beast, man. He's legit. He deserves the top 15 ranking. And they better fucking give it to him. Let's see. So that's middleweight. Oh, we got Silva at 15, Elias Theodora, Uriah Hall, Antonio and Carlos Jr., David Brandt. He should fight Brad Tavares. When was the last time Brad Tavares fought, or Jared Cannonier? I know Cannonier fought recently, but I don't think he's really beat anybody. How is he 9? Either of those guys would be good. Derek Brunson, maybe. Paulo Costa. I don't know if he's lined up to fight somebody. I don't know. But yeah, good showing by Hermansson. I really look forward to seeing him, fight next. That dude is legit, man. And now let's get to the main event. And if you don't know by now, then what the fuck have you been doing with your life? Oh no, my pen ran out. Oh, it's back. So that main event, Edson Barboza versus Justin Gaethje. The main reason why we are here. It was a straight bar burner. Gaethje just pressured at the opening bell. Barboza tried to keep his distance, use his legs, use his punches, but Gaethje doesn't give a fuck, man. He just fucking goes head first like a fucking wrecking ball. And he wrecked up Barboza, man. It was, before, we could even see Barboza establish a game plan, which is super smart of Gaethje, man. And he just pressured him and KO'd him with the right hook. Got it done pretty quickly in the first round, 2 minutes and 30 seconds in, halfway through the round. And I kind of saw this coming, but I wasn't real confident in it because Barboza's a beast. He's a master at distance and timing, accuracy, speed, and his kicks are just fucking filthy. But, Gaethje's just a fucking monster, man, and I don't know if anyone could stop him. The only one that stops him is literally if his body, his mental makeup won't stop. You can tell this guy's mentally strong. Even if you hurt him, he's going to keep coming. And he's going to keep fighting either till he finishes you or you finishing him. And, man, it's fucking exciting to watch, dude. And he deserves to be nothing but main card fighting. And, people were picking on him in the past. How's this guy, already ahead of me in the rankings? Or how's he getting main card fights and I'm not? That's because that dude fights like a fucking monster, man. He might not have the smartest strategy in the game, but I think he's also kind of putting that out there so his opponents think he doesn't have a strategy. And Woodley was saying this in the post-fight. He thinks he's kind of conned everyone to thinking that he just goes in there and brawls with no game plan, when that's just not the case, because his game plan is to fucking attack you and pressure and smother you and fuck you up. That is a game plan. And it works from him, man. And it only doesn't work when a guy's able to counteract that with, the same exact mentality back at him. That's why Eddie, the Underground King Alvarez, beat him, and why Poirier beat him, and now he has a shot at the title. So, Gaethje only deserves to go up from here. People above him, they have Cerrone ranked above him. He beat Barboza. Kevin Lee stepping up to 170 for a fight. He could fight Ally Quinta, but Quinta, I believe, is already signed to fight somebody. I forget who, though. Poirier's fighting for the title. McGregor's not fighting for a while, probably. And Ferguson, who knows? So I don't know where Gaethje goes from here, but he deserves somebody top 5 for sure. So yeah. Great night of fights. I guess just picking back off Gaethje, Paul Felder called him out. It's not like he called him out, but Paul Felder wanted the winner of this fight between Barboza and Gaethje. Felder's ranked number 9 now, so he's right below Gaethje before this weekend. When they had him at the post-fight show, they had Gaethje up the desk, and Paul Felder was there with Woodley and Karen Bryant, and Felder said he'd like to challenge Gaethje because, he wants to be the best, and to be the best, you got to beat the best. And Gaethje was kind of funny about it, man. He was like, I thought you guys liked this guy, Felder. You don't want him to get hurt. And you could tell he wasn't, trying to purposely talk shit, but he, genuinely meant it. He's like, you guys don't want me to hurt your guy, do you? And I don't know, we'll see. You might be right, but Felder's a tough son of a bitch too. As I said before, the only person that can beat a crazy psychopath is another fucking psychopath. And Felder's that dude, man. That dude fights with the fucking broken limbs and, collapsed lungs and shit. Like, I'd sign up for that fight. I'd take my money now for that. But we'll see. Gaethje seemed really adamant about wanting somebody, ranked above him, even though he said the rankings are bullshit. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I would watch that fight. We'll see if Gaethje wants it. I know Felder wants it, but yeah, we'll see where that goes. In other news, JDS Junior Dos Santos and Francis Ngannou have agreed to fight at UFC 239, which I believe is also the July 8th card with Bones and Thiago Santos and Nunes versus Holm. So that's already shaping up to be an amazing card. Can't wait to watch that shit. And I knew the UFC would put on a great card around July 4th. They always do. And I'm excited they are, but I'm a little upset that I won't be there. Just because my best friend is getting married in September, and we were planning a bachelor party. It's already planned now. Plans are set. We're going on a cruise. Where are we going? Around Memorial Day weekend. The other weekend we were thinking of doing things was July 4th week and weekend. And I told them, yeah, man, we could do that weekend. And I bet you if we go to Vegas, because we were thinking about going to Vegas, because that's the prime spot to go for a bachelor party. But, yeah, I told him if it was in Vegas, I bet you there'd be a great July 4th card or July 8th that weekend. And I was fucking right. I said maybe McGregor might be on there, but it doesn't look like that's going to shake up because I guess he quote-unquote retired. But Bones is on there, so even better. And then we got Nunes versus Holm. It'll be one of the biggest women's fight ever. Amanda Nunes essentially beat every top... No, she has beat every top women's MMA fighter in history. Besides Holly Holm. She... she fucked up Miesha Tate after Tate won the belt from Holly Holm when Holly Holm beat Ronda. And then Nunes beat Ronda when she came back and fucked her up and basically ended her MMA career forever. And then Nunes just recently starched fucking Chris Cyborg, who we all thought was the best women's MMA fighter of all time. So it's obviously Nunes now. And if she beats Holm, then there's clearly no denying it because she would have beat anybody and everybody that has challenged her. And yeah, that'll be an exciting fight as well. And I recently read, just going off more news, Robert Whittaker has been medically cleared to start training again, so that's pretty cool. It's April 1st today, April Fool's Day, so I hope that's not a joke. I don't think it is. It's a stupid joke. But Adesanya and Gastelum are fighting for the interim belt in 2 weekends from now. So by the time, that fight is concluded and the winner is found, Whittaker should be back into training, full blast, and be ready to sign a deal shortly thereafter. And hopefully, whoever wins that fight isn't badly injured or anything like that, and they'll be able to make a fight, pretty quickly, maybe sometime in August or September. It'd be great to see Whittaker out there versus one of those guys. So yeah, I'm glad he's cleared and back at it. Also, I read a headline stating that Aldo has a knee infection and possibly is putting his 237 appearance in doubt. And now those headlines aren't even showing anymore. So I don't know. I haven't got any Sports Center alert about it or anything, so hopefully it's not too big of a deal. Because that would suck. I believe Aldo... Isn't Aldo in... I thought Aldo and Ortega were going to fight, but I can't remember. I felt like, I thought that's what the fight was. Let me find here. While I look for that, Valentina Shevchenko signed a new deal with the UFC, the flyweight championship. She's been in the UFC since 2015, and it looks like she'll be here for a lot longer. Terms were not disclosed, but oh no, Aldo's fighting Alexander Volkanovski. Okay, I like that. I like that matchup. That's a good matchup. Instead of Ortega. I would have liked to see Ortega and Aldo, but I like Volkanovski too, and he's fighting the number one challenger, man. So if he wins, man, he deserves that belt. He deserves that shot, and that guy Volkanovski looks like the real deal. So I hope Aldo's not hurt and he's able to get back in there. And I actually got an alert while doing this that Josh Barnett, former UFC fighter, youngest UFC heavyweight title holder in UFC history, which I believe he won it from Randy Couture. I actually watched that fight probably a couple weeks ago, so I'm trying to watch all the old UFC pay-per-view events. But yeah, what was the exact headline? But essentially, he signed with Bellator MMA for a fight. It doesn't say. I don't see any terms here, but he's literally signed it today. So it looks like he'll be fighting in Bellator going forward. He's suspended for the UFC for over 2 years because of a tainted supplement. He had a test come back positive for banned substance, but then they later proved that it was from a tainted supplement, but he already had been out for 2 years, and then his contract expired, so he was just kind of left in limbo, not being able to do anything. He did compete in some jiu-jitsu tournaments and things like that, like Quintet and some other events, but he hasn't been able to fight MMA, which sucks because Barnett, solid dude, although he's been doing it for a while, and he's 41 now. He still looks like he's in good shape. He still competes all the time. He's still training. As I said, he's been doing jiu-jitsu competitions, so he's in shape, and he's an exciting guy to watch. So I don't know. We'll see who they line up for him in Bellator. Maybe they just give him fucking Ryan Bader right away. Why not? I mean, who else is in there for Bader to fight? I mean, Bader's beat everybody in light heavy and heavyweight, so they should just give him name fights from here on out. Guys, just to make him and the promotion some money, because who the fuck's gonna beat him? But yeah, cool for him to fight. I'd rather see him in the UFC, but it's whatever. He'll probably get paid more in Bellator and actually have a better chance to win the belt. I don't think there's a chance at the UFC heavyweight belt, but who knows? UFC heavyweight division's full of the dinosaurs. So who knows? But he won't be there. He'll be in Bellator, so can't even think about it. So fuck it. So that's essentially news, and just real quick to close this out, I want to talk about Eddie, which I guess this is news as well. But I want to talk about Eddie Alvarez and Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson's debut appearances in ONE FC, ONE Championship. It was crazy. I think it goes to show that these guys are legit fighters over there in ONE Championship over there in China and Asia, in that market. Although we don't know any of the guys because they're born and trained and bred and raised there. Probably most Americans can't even say their names, but a lot of people thought they would just run through the competition and get the belt pretty quickly, but that's clearly not the case. Eddie Alvarez got knocked out in the second round. He looked a shell of himself. I think he thought what we all thought. We all thought he would run through anybody and everybody, and he got in there and realized, I forgot the guy's full name, but They call him Nasty because Nasty's in his last name. It's like Nasty something. But dude's nasty, and he had some fucking power shots in him. He had some power in his hands, and I think, and you could kind of see it the first time he tagged Alvarez pretty good. He kind of looked shell-shocked and was like, oh, fuck, this is an actual fight. And he got knocked out in the second round. And, honestly, got dominated, and he just looked bad. Just real bad. It looked a bad look for the UFC, bad look for Alvarez, and, his stock's just going to decline even further now. Because now the people and like the fan base at ONE FC thinks not that he's a joke, but he's not title contender worthy in their own promotion, and that's why he was brought over there, is to bring the big name guys over there. And now Alvarez thought he probably was holding all the cards. He probably is making a little more money because he's one of the couple faces for the U.S. market in ONE Championship. But, now that he lost in his first fight in the quarterfinals, is essentially out of the tournament to win the $1 million for the belt. Who knows where he goes from here? I'm sure he still has, fights on his deal with ONE Championship. But, yeah, man, it sucks seeing the Underground King and a legend of the UFC go over into a foreign market and get his ass kicked, and basically just look like shit. So yeah, and then piggybacking off of that, DJ did get the win. He got an armbar in the second round, I believe, but it wasn't easy, man. And I think this is probably the most challenging fight he faced, besides Cejudo. But the guy that DJ fought, he clipped him a lot more than Cejudo did. He got clipped several times, and he didn't drop DJ, or he didn't really stumble him, but you could tell he clipped him, and it kind of stunned him for a second, and realized, oh fuck, I need to take this guy down. And that was pretty evident that he was getting clipped on the feet, so DJ Mighty Mouse was going for those takedowns pretty hard, and he got him successfully most of the time, and eventually, got position and got the arm and got the submission, got the tap. So congrats to him, congrats to getting the W, and I hope he wasn't taking that guy lightly. So I don't think Mighty Mouse does that, but who knows? You can get used to being the champ for so long, and he was in the UFC. Even though he lost his last fight, it was still close, so he still probably thought he's head and shoulders above anybody else in this promotion. But I think both these guys learned pretty quickly, a fight's a fight. Well, they should already know that, first of all. But, these guys are legit dudes. Just because you don't know their name or can't pronounce them, or no one's ever heard of them in the United States, doesn't mean they're legit fighters, man. And I think they went out and proved it, and I think that's great for ONE Championship. They went out and proved that they got legit fighters. So I think more and more people will be watching. I think I will be if, I'm not going to be staking out fights for, the guys I don't know and stuff, but if Mighty Mouse or Eddie Alvarez or Sage Northcutt or, further guys end up going over there and they start fighting, then I'll start watching more and more. I'll start, put in the back of mind, oh yeah, there's ONE FC fights this weekend, and I didn't even know these fights were this weekend. I didn't know until I got a fucking notification on my phone from SportsCenter saying, oh, Eddie Alvarez knocked out, or Mighty Mouse gets the armbar, and I got that at like 3 a.m. because these fights were in Asia. Now, if I had known that, I would have stayed up. I was contemplating staying up that entire night anyway. I was up 30 minutes before that, and then I went to bed. So, a little upset I missed them live, but I went back and rewatched them and, got the gist of it. They were both quick fights, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, that's pretty much for me right now. I don't think I have anything else to talk about. Yeah, I don't see any news that is really relevant right now. So I'll go ahead and stop this. And yep, this completion of MMA series number 7 for Kyle High Club. I'll be back later in the week with the regular Kyle High Club recording. And I won't have a preview this week because there's no fights this weekend. Other fights the next weekend? I know UFC 236 is the 13th of April. Okay, so that is next weekend. So I'll be back next week with a preview for UFC 236. I'll do research as I did last time in the preview episode, get to know who these guys are from top to bottom of the fight card, and go for there. Excited for those fights. That will be Holloway and Dustin Poirier for the 155 interim belt while Khabib is out. Yeah, it's an exciting fight, exciting card, and I'll be talking about that later. Love you guys. See you soon. Bye.